Hello, I'm Gil Zilkha. Welcome back to my channel, Essential Classical Music, where we look at the best recordings of the classical music repertoire. This video is taken out of my larger video on the major chamber works. I hope you enjoy it. As always, I'm going to go alphabetically, so we're going to start with Bach. And so we're going to start with one of those strictly solo compositions, and this is a great one. Really one of the masterworks if you're wanting to appreciate Bach, and that's his 6 cello suites. Now these were actually brought to the attention of the world essentially by Pablo Casals, the Spanish cellist, who was actually at a thrift shop and discovered an edition of the suites and picked them up and started playing them, and then brought them to everyone's attention. And now pretty much every cellist worth his or her salt is going to want to play the cello suites. They are, strictly speaking, they're dance movements, although that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all, quick and jolly. Sometimes they're more slow and ruminative. There's always a prelude that begins each suite. And then you have some combination of sarabands, courants, gigs, which again can range from fast to slow. Probably the most famous one is the first suite that begins with the da 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 di da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da di da. Very, very catchy tune. It's often arranged for other instruments. By the way, not to be confused with the opening of the Well-Tempered Clavier. They sound very similar. But they're actually different. They're both arpeggios, but there's slight differences. They're both very catchy works. And then if you're wanting sort of a catchy, fast one in terms of the preludes, the one that begins number 6. By the way, this is my approximatura. I'm not singing the exact notes correctly, but I'm trying to give you an idea of what they sound like. And then one of my favorites is number 2. It's this slow ruminative. Do da 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 di da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da 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 di da di da 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 da. Anyways, I'm not going to sing the whole thing, but it's very beautiful. I wish I could. Fun fact, I was actually a guinea pig once for a cello masterclass given by the great American cellist Lynn Harrell. They wanted to show this student, give him something to emulate on his cello, so they brought in a bass singer, me, and I sang the Cote aria from Puccini's La Bohème. So that was kind of fun. I got to sort of, sing something that a cellist could emulate. So I feel very much within my rights to sing cello lines, since I have actually done that in a professional capacity before. Anyways, so let's get on to the recordings. My first choice is, it's really sort of the classic version, at least among stereo accounts, and that's the one by Pierre Fournier. Recorded in 1961, Deutsche Grammophon, very good sound, very present and full, and he plays these just masterfully. He had a beautiful tone, wonderful artistry, flexibility, and agility. He knew the works very well. So this is really an ideal starting point if you're wanting to get to know them. Now, the cello suites, it's a very, it's just a person and a cello. So there's so much room for flexibility, so much room for interpretation. So if you love the works, you're going to want more than one. And if you want something that's a little different, this is a more recent version. This is from Jean-Guillaume Queyras, a French cellist. This was recorded in 2007. And he plays it with a little bit more agility. It's a little bit more sparing in tone, partly, and that's sort of the new kind of manner, right? Is to bring the tone down a little bit to allow for a little bit more flexibility and agility. It's very beautiful, very suave. He's really a very musical artist, and it actually makes a really good compliment to the Fournier. Now he has come out with another version. We're in the year 2025 now, so just a few months ago, at the end of 24, he came out with another version. That one's also very good. You really can't go wrong with either one. I would say that one, he's, and this is something you can expect sometimes when artists come back years later with another version. He's kind of trying different things. If anything, he's a little bit more free with it. So it's a question of whether you appreciate the greater freedom, or if you're maybe imprinted or more used to this version, some of the things he does may sound a little bit more slightly eccentric. But again, the cello suites, they kind of lend themselves to that individuality. So I would say if you really like this version, you might as well get both. Now, another version that I want to recommend, far different from Fournier and Queyras, is Mstislav Rostropovich. This came out in 1991. Very good digital sound. And Rostropovich, the big Russian, he just has that beautiful velvety large sound. So not so much on the agility, although he's certainly, he was one of the greatest cellists around, but particularly if you want to enjoy the cello suites in more sort of a straightforward manner, and just luxuriating, if that's a verb, in just the sound of it, Rostropovich gives you that. For example, number 5, which starts out very dramatically, boom, 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 boom. And areas like that, it's just really priceless to hear Rostropovich with his large tone. Now, going back a little bit in time, the early 60s, we have this Mercury version from János Starker, Hungarian cellist. And of course, Mercury Leaving Presence. I'm always touting their sound quality. It's just one of the vintage great sound engineering. So nothing to fault there. And his playing is a little bit faster. It's very assertive, very imaginative. He also was a wonderful artist. Really makes the most of those dance movements. So this is a really wonderful version. He did record it later, I think in like the early 90s for RCA. So that's obviously a more pristine sound. I think he was a little bit more fresh in this version, although they're both excellent. Now, for something a little bit different, from the same time period, early 60s, we have Maurice Gendron. And this is a little bit more like what I was saying about Rostropovich. If you're more into the tone, Gendron plays a really sort of a legato style where everything's more connected, real velvety and suave. It's really beautiful, really elegant, really good sound quality on this too. Early 60s Philips. So again, if you love the beauty of the works, you can't go wrong with this. Now, for something quite different, much newer, we have this recording from 2012 with Peter Wispelwey. Now, Wispelwey, he's recorded it several times. I think this recording, what's label is this here? This is, it's kind of hard to find here, but I think I see in really small print, I think it's called EPR. So sometimes they make this difficult to see. Anyways, he plays in a more kind of shortened, clipped style, great agility. And if you like sort of a more assertive style, of course, these are dance suites after all. This is a really exciting version. And then finally, for something very different, we go to the really old classic, really one of my favorite classical recordings of all time. And that's, of course, the person who discovered the suites, Pablo Casals. These come from the late 30s. Fairly clear sounding for the 30s, and of course it's a solo cello, so you don't have to worry about balances or anything like that. And Casals was just a fantastic artist, a real thinking, ruminative artist, especially if you like those thoughtful preludes and the slow movements. Although he's also very imaginative with the faster movements as well. It's just you don't want to miss this. It's the proverbial artist in the dark room alone, with his cello, just emanating just these wonderful insights. And of course you have the authority of being the person who essentially discovered the pieces. So that's really unmissable as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day and happy listening.